I've got this video waiting and pending at the moment, and it is basically, there's 2 videos. One of them I'm going to release them on consecutive days. Why David Moyes shouldn't remain as manager of West Ham United, and then why David Moyes should remain as manager of West Ham United. Might need some help with the second one. Don't do it now. Anyway, I want to do it fair, and I want to do 2 videos. But what I don't think is fair is to do it now. There's so much uncertainty. It's not at the end of the season. We're still not fully sure about everything that's going to happen. So, I mean, we're uncertain about the owners. We don't even know who's going to be the manager. So what we asked for, we were speaking with patrons, a couple of stocking filler videos, couple of videos to keep us going, really. There's no point in talking about David Moyes' future per se, and anything that goes after that almost doesn't matter at the moment. So, it was Jake, one of our patrons, who said, what players have improved under David Moyes? For good one. That's a good one. And we will be doing that, Jake. But he led on to something else, which someone else was speaking about, because it's transfer window, which is which players' values have increased under David Moyes. Because that's very different, isn't it? It's like when we do the which players have improved under David Moyes, I think Aaron Cresswell, as you know, David Moyes done well with Aaron Cresswell, and Mikel Antonio would be 2 examples. This is different, isn't it, though? Because Aaron Cresswell's not worth more now, for obvious reasons. So what I've done is I've written a list of players, not just that David Moyes signed, but players he might have had an influence over. He didn't sign Pablo Fornals, but more than anyone else, David Moyes will have had an influence over his value, because Fornals has played more times under David Moyes than he did under Pellegrini, who signed him, right? Makes sort of sense. I've excluded silly signings. Cardoso, Alves, you know, players that have been signed, young Portuguese centre-back. They're punts, aren't they? You know, Brazilian centre-back. Well, yeah, Danish. He was from Silkeborg, wasn't he? A Danish nationality. Brazilian with Danish nationality. Alves. David Moyes was never going to play them, just in the same way that he won't play this Luisao at the moment. So I think, you know, the club is silly to bring those players in. They're not going to get played any more than Sam Allardyce was going to play Wellington Paulista. So forget about that. They're little punts that very, very rarely. So we'll call it a Haksabanovic, shall we? Even though, anyway, it doesn't matter. I won't go into the complexities of that particular deal. I mean, so you sort of start with Haller, which was, did he have an influence? Yes, he did have an influence, because he couldn't get a tune out of him. And although I don't lay the blame solely at his doorstep, because it wasn't his player. That really wasn't. We'll get to David Moyes' striker, who had to wait a long time for later on, which is obviously Scamacca. But it sort of starts with Haller and goes from there. So if we start with Pablo Fornals. Fornals was £23 million, Villarreal. Look, if I talk for 10 minutes about every player, we're going to be here all day. Has Fornals' value increased under David Moyes? Would we get 23 million for Fornals? I'm not sure we would. I have to say. But that's only really the last season and a half or something. I just think he's become so defensive. I think you just buy a defensive player, wouldn't you, really? I don't think he'd be in consideration if you wanted an attacking player. I don't think he's useless, by the way. I just don't think you're getting more than 23 million for him. I think there might have been a point where you would have done, but I don't think it's it now. Jared Bowen, 20 million. Absolutely, his value has increased. I don't know what it'd be worth now, but I would imagine it'd be 50 million at least. At least. I mean, you wouldn't take it. You'd be disappointed if West Ham accepted 50 million for Jared Bowen. I think the biggest thing you can say about him is, could you adequately replace Jared Bowen 50 million? Probably not. So I think, he's done brilliant there. Has his value increased? Absolutely. It's not clear cut, by the way, this list. Far from it. I just thought it was an interesting concept. We'll have a look at it. It's hit and miss, really. Souček. Now, Souček's an interesting one because when you add it to the loan fee was what we paid to start off with, then we made it permanent after 6 months, 18 million. I think you would. And I think it's a little bit unfair on Souček, again, because a bit like Fornals, he's sort of had the attacking coached out of him. He's become more of a defensive player than an attacking player, hasn't he? At his peak, when he was being linked with Bayern Munich, no one thought anything of it. When he was banging in 10 goals in the Premier League, no one thought, oh, no, that's ridiculous. No, that won't happen. No such a thing could happen. No, it was a fair one. And, and it was rumoured that Bayern Munich might be prepared to pay 50 million for him. It seemed reasonable at the time. So even though, would we get 18 million from now? Probably, possibly. I think you could still say we increased his value, but it was like a peak chart. It would have gone like that and up, and then it's sort of back down now, isn't it? And probably about the same. Probably would get 18 million for him, I think it's fair to say. Said Benrahma, 23 million. I think it's tough. I think I'm going to go with yes. I think I am. I think the guy I'm going to use as an example is a really bad barometer, Anthony, Man United, because they paid so over the top for him. But Anthony was like 85 million. Something like 86, 87, whatever, something like that. 4 Benrahmas? I don't know, come on. He's not 4 times better than Benrahma, is he? Don't get me wrong, I don't think Benrahma's worth 50 million. I really don't. I do think he probably is a £25 million player. So I don't think we lost money on him. I don't think so. I don't think if someone goes and buys Benrahma, we're having to sell him on the cheap for 10 million. We're not having to do a Felipe Anderson with him now, are we? Let's be fair. No, the more I read through it, it's actually not too bad. Let's be fair. Next one down, Soufal. The next three are pretty good, really. Soufal, 5 million. Come on, you know. And I think it's different. I don't want to drift into have we had our money's worth, because I think that's a different thing. Definitely, because I think that's just it with Souček. Definitely had your money's worth there. Do you know what I mean? Definitely. Soufal, 5 million. The point is, did we increase his value? Definitely. It's been for most of Soufal's time at West Ham, his value would have been over 5 million. And it was rumoured, let's be fair, that Leverkusen were ready to buy him in the winter window for 6.5 million. So clearly, I think that much is clear. Virgil van Dawson, a Dawsonator. Slipped from my memory a lot. I've thought about Dawson for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's a bargain. It was a bargain. We got him on loan. Well, journeyman, load of old crap. Signed him at 2.8, 2.7, 2.8, whatever. Doesn't matter. We doubled our money on him. Sold him to Wolves for 6 million. And he was really good for us. That's a successful transfer, right? That really is a successful transfer. Next one's a little bit more tricky because it's Kurt Zouma. 30 million. 25, 30, whatever. Is he worth that now? No. But that doesn't mean he's not of value. I still think it will be a good sign. I think we will have our pound of flesh, our 25 million out of him. Our pound of knee cartilage. I think we'll have it. I think we will. But I just think because of his injury record, nobody would pay that for him now. I don't think he'd pass a medical. So I think, if we're sticking to the parameters of this, that's why we've got to do 2 separate videos. You know what I mean? About have they improved under David Moyes, things like that. Have they been valued? It's different. Has his value increased? It's very different to has he been valued for money? I think he has been. I think he's been a good sign in there. And I think he's worth more to us now than he would be for anyone else paying a transfer fee. So he plays through the pain barrier as well, doesn't he? Yeah, I don't think you get your money back from him just because he's broken, basically. He's got the old Ledley King, Paul McGrath-itis, hasn't he? Vlasic. I mean, that's just a no. It's just a big old no, isn't it? Nikola Vlasic, just a lot of money lost. I never, as you notice, I said it when we were buying him. I never bought into the whole 28, 30 million. We just didn't pay that for him. We really didn't. We would have paid that if he'd have played X amount of games, scored X amount of goals, so on and so forth, which he clearly didn't do. But I do think we paid 19 million for him. Well, actually, we never actually paid it, did we? Because the whole thing happened with Russia. But we have had to put that to one side. So the money is there. FIFA will take that money off of us. So it still cost us 19 million, at least. It's been a massive failure. That's just massive failure. I know he scored relatively recently, but, well, just a massive loss. That and Haller and Felipe Anderson, that's just hemorrhaging money. Hemorrhaging it. You cannot afford to lose, just write off £20 million. Well, you see, that's what we did with Haller. Over 20 million, written it off. 20 million Vlasic, written it off. Even more with Anderson. We wrote off over 30 million. We ended up getting 3 back for him. So, yeah, nothing there. Areola. I've spoken about this so many times recently. All right, his transfer fee was only about 11 million and there was a loan fee and all the rest of it. When you factor in his wages, the total liability is about 40 million. Is he worth more? Funnily enough, he may well be still worth the same amount. I don't know. But it's a bloody big loss. Regardless of what that is still hemorrhaging money. It's hard. You've got to really twist the rules of this game, haven't you? The rules of this video. and really twist your words a bit to make that sound like a successful transfer. It's hemorrhaging money. However, is he still worth 11 million? I think he probably is. So, but that doesn't mean he's been a good transfer. It's just his value stayed the same. Paqueta, this is where it gets interesting. 50 odd million. I think he is. I think we do. I think we have a £50 million player on our hands. Feels like we do. Seems like we do. You know, I think if Juventus come in, it wouldn't surprise you, would it? If you're reading the paper, Juventus are interested in Lucas Paqueta. Bayern Munich interested in Lucas Paqueta. It would not surprise you. We're not selling him for 25 million because he's been crap and it's not worked out. I think he's retained his value. He's still in the Brazil team. He's, started to score goals in the Premier League. Looks like he bosses some games as well. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, has he become a £100 million player? No. But I don't think we're losing money on him. Same can't be said for Scamacca, 35 million. Oh, it's a bad signing. Bad signing. Not a bad player. Different. Remember the rules of the game. Are we getting £35 million back for Scamacca? No. I think, one or two things happen. Basically, I think either an Italian club come in for him with an option, not obligation, loan with an option to buy for 30 million, but only if he proves himself again in Serie A. And we'd be lucky to get that, and we'd be grateful for that. Or we sell him and someone buys him for something like 22 million or something like that. I think there's at least a £10 million loss on Vlasic. On Vlasic. On Scamacca. Not very good, is it? Nye for Gerd. 35 million. Well, he looks like 60 million sometimes, doesn't he? But then he looks like 60 pence on other occasions. I don't think you get a £35 million back. But I do. That's not to say I think it'd be a bad signing for West Ham. It's not. I don't think you get your 35 back from now. Because he can have some stinky games, can't he? He really can have some stinky games. Can make a mistake, that's for sure. A lot of them can, though. A lot of players that play like that. Remember, like Frank Leboeuf. Probably Franck Leboeuf. Felipe Albert. Remember him? Those players that, that are like him. Long range passing, come out from the back and all the rest of it. Play a little adventurous pass from the back. They do make a mistake. They can make a mistake, can't they? 35 million, I'm not so sure. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I can't see it. I think that's a no. I cannot see any team paying 35 million for him. But I'm not saying he's turned crap. I'm not saying he's turned into a £5 million player. That's not what I'm saying. Just not sure we're getting our money back from him. Maxwell Cornet, well, that's an easy one, isn't it? Forget it. Sorry if that's probably I wouldn't know if that's been making noise. I think I've had my hand near the microphone, so sorry if that's been making a noise. I've been 13 minutes into the video. I'll probably not go back and re-record it, truth be known. But depressing me. But the first part of this was good. Now we're getting ain't getting so good. There's no way. No one's buying Cornet for 17 million. There's no point even discussing it any further. Annie Dings. It's been a while since she's been called that. The love's gone out of that. It's a bit like, stop calling her. It's funny when it goes stale. The old relationship goes stale. No more fornicator. No more El Fornicador. Not his fault. Just fizzled out, didn't it, really? There's no more anythings. Not too fussed about it at the moment. It's just plain old Danny Ings now. No, I don't think anyone is buying him for £15 million. I really don't. That's not to say he wouldn't be attractive to another club. I'm not saying he's finished and all the rest of it. I'm really not. I think the best we can hope for is actually we write that £15 million off and someone comes in and takes away his wages off our hands, unless a new manager comes in and gets him playing with the two up front. I can't see it. I can't see it. I'll be very, very surprised. Tilo Kehrer, 10 million? Yeah, he's worth 10 million. I think he is. I do. I think he's worth 10 million. Flynn Downs. Yeah. I think so. I think we get our money back for Flynn. I think absolutely. I think, what was he, 9 million or something like that? I think we get our money back for Flynn. I really do. We get more than our money back if he played a consistent string of games. I think you'd find out. I think if he didn't get played much next season, he went out on loan or something, he'd be out on loan for 6 months. I think you'd see his value go up again. He'd just run of games and his confidence up and all the rest of it. He's definitely. I can absolutely see him playing 6 months in the Championship and being worth 15 million again, something like that. Last but not least, Emerson, 13 million. It's not to say whether he's worth 13 million. He's on big wages, Emerson, big wages. Would somebody buy Emerson off us for 13 million? And the answer is no, because of the wages. I just don't think they would. I think there's better, younger fullbacks out there who, if you combined, just teams to look at, I think, well, it's not just 13 million, is it? It's 13 million and 90 grand a week or whatever it is. And I think, you know, honestly, I really do. I think teams look at it and think, do you know what? I'd actually be better off, rather than spending that 13 million, spending 25 million on a young fullback and paying him 40 grand a week. Honestly, I think you'd find something like that. And then you've got a promising player who's going to hopefully increase in value. So I don't think you would. I don't think you'd get our money back for Emerson. There you go. I'll be delighted to know what you think. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone out, because I used the proper list off the website and whatnot. As I say, I've left silly little things. I know he lost money on a jetty, and I don't blame him for that. He didn't even bring him in. And as I said, Cardoso and Alves. There's lots of little ones in there. I didn't include Crowell for obvious reasons. He brought Randolph in, and I haven't included those. I don't think those sort of things matter. I'm certainly not going to blame him for letting Roberto go on a free. I think it was quite a good thing to do. I think we should. Well, actually, there are some players we've paid to leave, aren't there? Paid Jack Wilshere to leave, haven't we? That's another one. But so I'm not. It's easy. I could add other ones in there, and it probably wouldn't be fair. It probably wouldn't be reflective on David Moyes. At least those ones, I think he can take ownership for the ones that I've mentioned. Anyway, I'd be interested to know what you think.